Well, again, you heard there are different kinds of people here in the conference. You have several customers. You have technology companies. We just talked to a service provider that has a very strong boutique focus. I'm now going to sort of share perspectives with a leader in the systems integration and solution space. That's HCL. And we have been working, Denodo has been working with HCL actually globally. We have joint opportunities. We're working together in North America, in Europe, in Singapore, and of course enablement with India. Today we have Ken Martin, who is one of the subject matter experts. I'll let Ken introduce himself. So welcome to Denodo DataFest, Ken. Yes, why don't you introduce yourself?
Thank you. It's very nice to be here. My name is Ken Martin. I work with HCL. I'm the director of our Global Center of Excellence. And again, I'm really enjoying the conference here today. HCL is a global provider. We have around 110,000 people, almost $8 billion, $7.4 billion in revenue in 31 countries around the world. So a lot of experience in implementing. I run our business analytics services practice from a go-to-market center of excellence point of view. And I have to say I'm really excited about what the capabilities are in Denodo and what I'm learning here at the conference today.
Fabulous. Although, you've been relatively recently introduced to Denodo, I want to just highlight that we've been working with HCL for some time now and have some very, very strong implementations jointly under our belt. One of the things you talked about, business analytics services. So could you just sort of expand a little bit on what that practice encompasses? Because I know it's a global practice, but it's not just analytics. It includes data management, traditional BI, et cetera. Could you just explain that a little bit?
Yes. When I say business analytics services, it does cover what we call any data, anytime, delivering advanced and applied analytics to any device. And that means either graphical dashboards, or it might be customer interaction type. So what we focus on is that data governance and the ingestion of the data, and then the management of that data as you process it through the platform into delivering various types of services. And that could include predictive analytics, descriptive analytics, but also things like cognitive computing.
Right. Absolutely. So one of the things that, as we work with HCL, in customers is there's, of course, a legacy business of doing large data warehousing projects, large ETL projects, et cetera. And what you've seen several of the customers talk about today is sort of the 6x faster, 10x faster, et cetera. And in some sense, you've also been hearing this idea of minimizing ETL, et cetera. Right. So I'm just curious, as a service provider that, of course, has got lots of people doing traditional, et cetera, how do you see both the opportunity and effectively the challenge to your existing business of delivering large numbers of people or services to more of the traditional approaches, and then this sort of pivoting over to maybe more modern agile approaches to data integration? Great.
That's a great question, and I think I love analogies, so I'm going to use one analogy to kind of start that off with. The analogy is when you go back to thinking about computers even in the early 90s, there was that idea called client server. And on every desktop around the world, you had this gigantic application. And in order to update that application, you had to push data through the internet. We didn't have an internet, so what did we do? We had to load it from one disk to another. So it was very laborious. Yeah. It took a lot of work to keep those things updated. The advancement of the internet and browser-based applications then greatly simplified what it meant to deliver functionality to somebody's desktop. And even though that was true, there was still an organizational challenge with convincing people that placing those things on the server, all the security around placing applications on the server, all of those kinds of challenges had to be met, even though today it proliferates everything we do, including the mobile phone in your watch or my mobile phone.
Right.
Similarly with data and the virtualization of data, I think we have very similar kind of organizational challenges, and as well as, making sure that the technology landscape is there to support it. When you want to push data
Right.
from one platform to another, imagine having 400 data marts or a virtualization platform that's global. I can see the benefit in that because I've spent 20 plus years working in the industry. So what we want to do is we focus on what we call business value driven. So we focus on what is that right use case that shows the business user, who quite often is the the funds come from IT, but it has to be approved around the organization. So how do you convince that business user that it's important technology to shift to?
Okay. Very good. Actually, this is what we hear also, is that, while the data virtualization may sound like it reduces the effort, which it does, of actually integrating data, it creates so much other opportunities because it's at the confluence of these huge projects around big data, around Customer 360, around data service marketplaces, so that for a service vendor, this becomes a must-have kind of capability if you're going to participate in the, in the future. So on that vein, my last question is, you've been listening to some sessions, you've been mingling with the folks here. What have been sort of 2, 3 key takeaways for you that you might take back to your clientele at HCL?
Well, as I said, you really, thank you for meeting with me this morning too, by the way. But the key takeaway for me is your customer testimonials about how you're working with your customer, phenomenal. I mean, boy, that's something that you should be very proud of as Denodo. But I have several use cases now, and as a global COE that we go to market, we say the proof is in the pudding. The proof is in the application, right? So I see some really great opportunities for us as we look to some of these use cases, and they range around from knowledge management, enterprise knowledge management, say for global insurance companies and things like that, emergency management, to the specialized production of pharmaceuticals. And so think of the array of data that means. You're talking about biometric data from your watch, data from your Fitbit or other type of devices taking that, DNA, genealogy, all of this data. You don't own it all, but you can virtualize it, and you can arrange to have that data virtualized. So I'm very charged up about what we're going to be doing in the next few months to build something like that with Denodo.
Yeah, absolutely. We've done that in telco. We've done that in financial services together. We have a great opportunity in front of us to do it in many other industries. So I want to thank HCL and you personally for being here and supporting Denodo as a sponsor. So we look forward to having a lot of your customers here next year when we do this. And thank you again for our streaming visitors.
Sure.
So thank you.
Thank you.